Well, welcome punters to another edition of Tipster. I have by my side Mr. Michael Gannon.
G'day, mate.
Mick, how are you, mate?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad at all. Lots of stuff to talk about on this episode apart from the usual. And of course, Mick, some big news for us here at the Great Tip-Off. We're going to be on course, you and I, and a few friends, Dean Watling, and reviewing, doing all that sort of stuff on track, in the mounting yard, in the media area and so forth. It's going to be
on Everest Day.
On Everest Day,
really huge.
And also on Golden Eagle Day.
Yep.
So we'll tell you, obviously we're going to be going live on Twitter. You can look right now at this address. So if you go to Twitter, plug in that address, follow us. You're going to hear all about it as we go forward. So look out for that one. Talking about Everest, Mick, we've got the field over here over my shoulder at the moment. Interesting. What do you think? What are your thoughts early on?
I think we covered a fair bit in the All-In show, and I think that Nature Ship's still very much the one to beat.
Yeah.
If you watched the Premier last Saturday, pretty much nearly a length between the top four runners there, and I think for mine, is the way we wanted to play it earlier was Nature Ship was around the $4 that we were steering everyone into, and then Lost and Running was the other one, and Master Crusader is really the third choice for mine. So they're the three. I think if you've got some early
flew out of the ground, Master Crusader on the weekend.
and I think the Ramwick True Rail will see the best version of that horse, and I think it's only getting better. So for mine, if it's a blowout, it's going to be Master Crusader.
Master Crusader, yep. Yeah, interesting. And look, missed the $2.10 after his last win on Nature Strip. I believe you'd be lucky to get it. We've got evens here. I think you're lucky even if you get that at the moment. So, no good waiting. Is there? And
I've got a bit of a hiding about trying to steer everyone into $4. It's an absolute barrage.
Yeah.
I think $2 looks pretty good at the moment. But anyway.
And that, of course, is on the All-In show, which continues every, it's filmed early in the week. The guys do a great job because the market's coming out even earlier now. But we'll talk more about that too. Look, there's lots in this program. Of course, we do the Tipster of the month for September. We also do the media tipsters of the month. There's a few of those in the top. And look, this week, the guy who finishes top in the media, look, let's mention it. It's Glenn Munsie.
Yeah, Muns.
And Michael has a bit of a one-on-one. So that's worth hanging around for, ladies and gentlemen. Without any further ado, I think we're good to go. We'll get stuck into this.
Let's get into it and check out who's been tipping up a storm.
Let's do it.
So here we are, punters. Going to check out the Tipster of the Month leaderboard for September, and there's a couple of media personalities up there, but there's a few punters to boot as well, and sort of name we've seen a little bit of. Ronnie Hanks comes on top there with the gold.
Yeah, look, Ronnie, he's $8.37 average price. Gotta love that. But Ronnie's been on top 5 already this year, so knows his stuff. Likes to focus on 4 and 5 year olds. I suspect that's because there's a bit more history there, Mick.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Anything there that you can relate to when you're doing your form?
Yeah, I just think you get more consistency, right?
Yep.
So with the 2 or 3 year olds, it's going to throw up some peaks and some troughs as well. But I think with the 4 or 5 year olds, you really get a good understanding of where they're at, and you can really probably find some more patterns that have been built out through, probably 6 or 7 preparations by then. So he's on the money.
Yeah, no, look, makes sense. Tony Zed's there, the next in line. He's WA punter. Loves his
Just another WA
roughies.
punter, eh?
Yeah.
Geez, they're good.
They're out there.
They are good.
$10 for average price.
Does anyone work in WA? They just punt.
There's a lot of good punters, isn't there?
Punt.
We'll, there's definitely a lot on the leaderboard. That's for sure, Mick.
Absolutely.
Next up, Glenn Munsie.
Yeah, there's no surprise there, mate.
Had a chat with him.
81% profit on turnover. Gee, that's impressive. 40 tips. We had a good chat with him, so punters listening for that and get the inside word from Muns.
I'll tell you what's really good about that. Like, Muns appears in various, newspaper publications, so he's got to get those in pretty early.
Yeah.
So he's also guessing weather patterns. He doesn't have the advantage of sort of watching a few early, and we know how that played out in recent times, especially in the last month. So through September, he's had to get him in early, and he knocks up that sort of effort, and it's not a flash in the pan for Munsie.
No, he likes his penetrometer as well, so he knows what's going on.
I think he likes saying that word too. Absolutely. He's always got that number ready for him on the panels and so forth.
And just outside the podium, we've got there Peter Staples from Sky.
Yeah, Peter Staples, Tasmanian expert. He was top 10 last year as well, so he's carrying on. He's got some great stats over this year as well, 2022. If you're looking for a punt on Tasmanian races, look him up. Come to the side. Peter Staple, follow him.
They're the good ones. They're the ones that sometimes on a Sunday lob up at about 10:45, 11 a.m.
Yeah, and look, he does all right. I mean, $3.97 average price. I mean, around $4, you've got to be happy with that.
Absolutely.
So it does a good job.
And we've got Sandy Starr there rounding out the leaderboard.
Yeah, Sandy Starr finishes up there, $4.81 average price, 71% pot. Got to be happy with that. Had just over the regulation 30 tips.
Yeah.
And that rounds out our top 5 leaderboard for the month of September, Mick.
Outstanding. Well done. Welcome back to Tipster. Here we are. We've got the media tipster of the month for September. And we've just touched on the one and only Glenn Munsie and Peter Staples taking out the
second
gold and
spot.
silver. And I'll tell you what, 81 and 80% profit on turnover. They were going
bad.
toe for toe, a bit of bone crusher and
our
Waverley Star about that. Yeah. And third position there, mate, Howard Walter from Best Bets.
Yeah, Howard's great. I mean, for those who are on the Twitter sphere, they know Howard's posted. If you're not, definitely follow Howard. He does something very unique. He'll put out some of these sort of old-fashioned picks, and he'll always make a comment that relates to racing. My favourite is the clothesline with the pegs on it. And there was a reference there to speed maps. I mean, you know, it's great stuff. So, but knows his stuff as well, Howard. Very highly rated with some big names that are very respected in the industry, like blokes like Mark Hunter and so forth. This guy knows his stuff. No surprise to see him at 67% pot.
That's clear as day with 79 tips.
Yeah, not just one or here or
less
there.
bets than I had. And in fourth there we've got Latham Anderson.
Yeah, look, Latham used to be tipping it. Well, he still tips her on the side, I mean, but specifically coming to the side, put his tips in, showed that he knows a thing or two about Western Australian racing. There it is again.
He's very good.
And got picked up by the West Australian newspaper. So he now tips for them, which is great to see.
There you go. If you're an up and coming tipster, just jump on the site, enter your tips, and we'll get your gig on there. Take 5% Latham. We'll send the invoice across. Yeah.
We've got a bit of a history for it now, haven't we? The breeding ground for racing talent in Australia. There we go.
We've got Colin McNiff down there in fifth.
Yeah, race caller for Sky Racing there. Colin is on a 4-week winning streak. And if you're punting at Devonport, you've got to get on 7 weeks in a row at Devonport. So get that one in here.
That's that Sunday morning. Is it that Sunday morning before 12 o'clock kick-off at Devonport?
Geez, you got me there. But look, I tell you what, it's definitely mostly on Sundays. So if you're looking for, especially at the moment, no footy on.
Yeah, that was the days when you just go looking for bets.
You got to go looking for bets.
Not anymore. Just follow Colin McNiff.
Type him in. There we are, and just follow him away. So that rounds out the top 5, Mick, for the media in September. Don't forget, come to the site. All the tips, alerts, and so forth are there. thegreattipoff.com. That's your place to be for tips during the Spring Carnival and always. All right, so this is the bit where we speak to tipsters, get their tips, and this week, or this month I should say in particular, we've got a bit of a special going on here. Mick, who are we talking to and what about?
Yeah, tipster in focus is Glenn Munsie. Just having a quick chat with him about his great performance, not only over the last month of September, but also over the last 180 days. He's got some cracking stats. So check it out, punters, and you might learn something.
Yeah, let's hear it.
G'day, punters. We're lucky enough today to be joined by the media tipster of the month for September, Glenn Munsie from Tab. How are you, Muns?
Very honoured, Mick. Little battling bloke whose only job is to read the numbers off the screen, and I managed to find a few winners.
Oh, mate, you're too humble. You're too humble. I'll tell you what, some winners you certainly did find over the last 180 days, not just September, the last 180 days, $6,000 cash profit of $100 bets, profit on turnover of 30%, and an average price of $5. Muns, you seem to find those gems in the form guide, mate. How do you do it?
Well, mate, I've been doing it for a long while. I suppose that's it's not an overnight success or anything like that. I've been sort of chipping away at this for the guts of 40 years, but more sort of in depth for only the last 30 odd. But mate, I just think I treat doing everything as though I'm betting myself, and I've never been a fan of backing short price favourites. I can't see the real reasoning in you back a winner and really you're only got a free kick for the next one. I'd rather I really like to attack the races where I don't like the favourites.
Yeah.
And try and find the value. And mate, I'm quite happy to back 2 or 3 in the race to beat it. And I've had a bit of luck at doing that. But I'm always when I first had a business back here in the 90s, where I started doing the pre-post markets for bookies around the country and some punters and things like that. And I was very, very lucky to be employed by Tait at the time, who was, if not first up at the races, behind Peter Todd. He was, very, very close to it. So Cole was getting my pre-post market, so they had a fair bit of influence on what they were at the races. And mate, if you're tipping the bookies, well, they need to know horses that are in the market that are risks. It's sort of just built on from there, and that's how I've attacked my punting.
That's huge. So yeah, you find the horses that are bigger risk, and then sort of work way around those. How are you doing your form, Muns? Are you just, obviously you're watching a lot of the races, you're at the track a lot. Are you doing videos, or is it just a matter of just assessing each race on its own merit as it comes in front of you?
Well, mate, I've never been a computer bloke. I still can't handle computers at the moment. It's a miracle how I get to do it for work. But, mate, I've been watching videos of races since, well, mate, before Sky Channel was around. I can tell you, back in the 80s, I was getting every video of races in New South Wales from Canberra to Scone. And I was doing comments on all the provincials, all the city races for different people. So, that's where you learnt to sort of try and read what had happened in a race, and, a little bit of sectional work then back in those days without anywhere near the in-depth thing that it is now. So I've always been a looker. I've never been a button presser. Put it that way, to go to a computer pro or ratings or anything like that. And when I see a horse that I think it does enough in a race, or it hasn't had a great deal of luck, well, that horse sits in my mind then to when it goes round again.
That's outstanding. An example of that was Mahogany, which I think you tipped up at $101 a couple of weeks ago. And, well, we all know how that finished, but the dog's a big fan of it as well. Mate, talk to me. At the 200, you were home.
Well, mate, that's a perfect case in point. Now, there's a horse, an imported galloper that had a couple of runs over here for David Payne. He went for a break, so it's his second campaign in Australia. He resumed in a race at Hawkesbury, and he ran the best 11th of 14 you've ever seen. And I thought the favourites were risky. And here he was put up at 150 to 1 by Tab. Thank you very much, boys. And then with a multiplier effect, next minute he's $201. And I said, well, I've got to have something on this. I've got to have something on this. And I got on the, I do something for the ATC on a Thursday. And I said, now here's a horse. And he was, that stage, he was still 81 or $101. I said, I'm really, you've got to have something on this. And I think at that stage he was still $17 to place, and here he came out of the pack, and I'm watching the race with Ronnie Duffy, and I said, I'm on this at 200 to 1, Duff. And he went, oh. I've never seen a more disappointed person in all my life. I give the desk a bit of a thump, and Duff's got to do his recap straight after the race. So he's in the midst of that, and I've thumped the desk, and I said to myself, I've got to get out of here because I might say something or whatever. And the number of people that come up to you and sent you calls and everything, good find. I said, yeah, great find if you're on at the place, but I wasn't. I was on it straight out.
It's crook. It's a good story though, mate, and it's a good tip. Munsie, more than just a media personality, you're a fantastic tipster and a inspiration for a lot of us young media people. So, mate, thank you so much for giving us your time, and best of luck finding winners in the spring.
Well, mate, hope so. I don't know whether there'll be those odds, but, we can find them anyway. And if your average winner is going to be $5 or $6, if you can find 2 to 3 every Saturday, you're not going to lose it.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, mate.
Here we go, the great Muns. Gotta love that. So, hey, this is the time where we get the tips. So listen out here, punters. This is the early oil. Let's go.
Set me a nice task here. We've got a heavy 10 at Randwick after 30 mils of rain. It is teeming at my place at the moment, and they expect the worst of the rain to come on Saturday. If you'd like to play, it's a horse I've been following in the first, Jalmari. He's back on top of he's back on a heavy track. And his runs in the highways recently have been very, very good. He's a $9 chance in the first race there. With the claim for Amy McLucas, he's actually pretty well in. I think he's got a very, very good chance in the first. And one left field in the Gloaming Stakes, Man Zeus, ran on in the worst part of the track at Rosehill midweek program recently against older horses. Comes back to his own age here. He's drawn bad, but he's got through wet tracks before, and that's a 20-1 chance. But very, very lightly stepping there on Saturday at Randwick.
G'day, Chris Tait here. My great tip-off name is Tatey. I love betting on southeast Queensland tracks. In fact, I only bet in Queensland. Much easier to know the form, get to know the horses, the trainers, the jockeys, where they're running. My favourite track is Doomben. I seem to be able to punt well there, but I'm happy to bet anywhere in southeast Queensland. When I look at the form, I start with the speed map. After I've looked at the speed map, I look at the other form factors, I look at sectionals, then I watch the replays. Good bet for Saturday the 8th of October is in race 8, horse number 5, Star Dome, ridden by Jimmy Orman, trained by Chris Waller. They've got a great strike rate as a partnership. Stardome has a great second up record, great win at the Gold Coast last start, and will appreciate the Eagle Farm track. Maps really well, should be winning. Good luck, punters.
All right, there it is, Mick. Another episode of Tip Stuff that covered September. Before we get into the next bits and pieces, I mean, I always know if you've had a good day. So for those who don't know, Mick's over the fence from where I am, and I can hear these screeches and all these different noises. And I must say, Mick, you've got a very particular way of getting excited about a race, mate. I'm going to record you one day. I'm going to bring it on the program.
Depends how many beers I've had, to be honest.
It's
very vocal, and if you're not cheering one home, you're kidding yourself. So if you're not up and about after you picked a winner, because they don't always come that often.
No.
Especially in Spring Carnival.
Mate, I'm gonna get a little secret camera and I'm gonna put it on Twitter and get a bit of a collage going.
Gotta be real though. Those things are embarrassing. If it's a full like, oh look at me celebrating my horse lob. No good. Don't do that. You've got to be hidden camera sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. It reminds me of something else on Twitter this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you see Bjorn going nuts?
He loves it, Bjorn.
Yeah,
How many schooners he had here?
I don't know.
There
he's look at him. Have a go at him. He's happy.
Yeah, you know that's real because Bjorn's had 1,000 on.
Yeah, well, look at this. This must have been during COVID or something. Yeah, he's going nuts here.
He got one of him slam dunking a basketball. I think he put up a bit of an injury there last time he did that. Go, Bjorn. Kick it home, son.
Kick it home. It's a thing, right? The harder you hit something, it just makes it happen.
I've got a question for you. So back in the day, you used to have the old form guides. Yeah. Fantastic. So you roll up the Daily Telegraph. Like this. Now you measure your sickness by how hard you hit your leg. That's how you know how sick you are, punters.
Well, that was the old days when you used to go to the TAB and put your bets on, and there'd be always someone. He'd be riding it. And, some was great jockey positions going on.
You measure your sickness by how hard you hit your leg.
Yeah, there we go.
That's it.
You don't want to be around if that horse didn't win though either, right? Because it'd be swinging arms.
I hate to be your dog. Anyway.
Ooh, there we go. Hey, punters, just going to go back to it. Don't forget, you've got to follow us on Twitter because we are going to go live on Everest Day and live on Golden Eagle Day. And there's going to be Mick Gannon, myself, Dean Watling. We're going to start off early in the morning, preview the races, so Dino and yourself. And then as we go through the day, we're going to do a bit of a preview. You're going to be able to give them updated information on track condition.
Basically going to find your stack of winners.
Yeah. Some really interesting things, some very different things. Obviously, the Great Tip-Off has all the updated tipping stats within 10 minutes of the race finishing. So those that are going well, we're actually going to be in the media area, so we're going to be able to get their views on what's coming up and so forth, and give them a bit of a pat on the back. Talk to some punters in the field. It's all going to happen. It's very different, but very real and on course. So follow us on Twitter.
And make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube as well. We've got a great Kosciuszko preview coming up.
Yep.
Myself, Mick Wallace, and Mitch Lloyd will be doing that live from Inglis Ready to Run sales.
There we go.
On October 11th. So make sure you're subscribing because you do not want to miss the inside word with those boys. They know their country racing like the back of their hand.
So quick summary, subscribe to our Twitter and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you're going to be in the know during spring. Big spring coming up, punters. What
Let's
else
go.
is there to say? Let's go, and good luck.